Encounter is brought to you by the Broome County Council of Churches, where we connect compassion with needs as we inspire growth with dignity. You'll find us in special places throughout the community. For those who remain hungry, we provide meals. For those who are challenged, we build wheelchair ramps. We comfort those who are ill, minister to those who are confined, and we remain an advocate for change and understanding on behalf of every element of our community. Connect and inspire. Encounter the Broome County Council of Churches.
Friends, welcome to the Encounter program, sponsored by the Broome County Council of Churches. I'm your host, Mark Kimpland, the pastor at the Endwell United Methodist Church. Happy New Year to all of you. In case you haven't seen, we are now inundated in the new year with all kinds of fads and commercials and such things dealing with making our New Year's resolutions. And many times those resolutions are dealing with our fitness, our bodies, making changes towards wholeness in the new year. And we've been wanting to do a program on the idea of fitness and spirituality. And so I'd like to welcome to the Encounter program today Blake Shipp, who is the pastor at the Union Center Christian Church, and Robert Peak, who is the pastor at the First Presbyterian in Johnson City. Gentlemen, welcome to Encounter and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thank you.
Glad you're here. Glad you're here. Let's start first with those that are viewing us on the television and those that might be hearing us on the airwaves of the radio. Just introduce yourselves. Give us a little bit of your background and what has brought you to this moment. Blake, would you like to start with that?
Sure. I'm originally from Austin, Texas, and have slowly over the years, in 25 years of ministry, made my way north and east until I'm way up here in what I would call the frozen tundra for me. Feels like the eternal winter. So I have a wife. She teaches school here in the area, and two children, a fifth grader and a third grader, and we've been here in the Binghamton area about 4.5 years. So,
awesome. Yeah. Welcome. Glad you're here. Robert, what about yourself? Could you kind of give a little bit of your background?
Sure. I've been in this area now 26 years. I am pastor at the First Presbyterian Church, Johnson City, on the corner of Main and Floral. And we were talking, I have watched this area change drastically over these past several years. I'm originally from the Albany area, made my way to Pennsylvania, to Ohio, back now to New York, which I was glad to come back. I was glad to be back. Yeah. So the frozen tundra for you was like home to me.
That's right. It's all perspective.
Absolutely. I was like, oh, this feels good to be back. And so I've enjoyed being in this area tremendously. I have 3 kids. They're all grown. 2 of them are married. I'm baby watches for one of them. One baby just got here, and my youngest is yet to get married, and so we're enjoying having him around close by to us. So
awesome. Well, welcome to both of you. And the topic we're going to be talking about today, we'll see where it takes us, is fitness and spirituality, and how that mind and body sequence comes together and such. And perhaps we'll start with this idea. What is fitness to you right now? We're all at different ages and stations in life and such things. And I know just for my fitness, how over the decades it has changed. Being 57, I know now I'm not 27. And moving in life and such things is much different now than it was a decade or two ago. So what is fitness to you now in 2017?
Whoa, what is it now? Fitness for me is fairly new. I started 5-6 years ago with fitness. Up to that point, I didn't I didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to it. Okay. But age got to the point where saying, hey, we got to start thinking about this more seriously. It started with I used to watch a program I can't remember what channel it was on, The Biggest Loser. And I never saw the end of this program, and finally got to see the end of the series, and they ran a marathon. The last 3 people that were standing, so to speak, ran this marathon. And I'm watching it with my daughter, and I said to her flippantly, hey, you want to run a 5K with me? I have not run in 30 years to that point. And so I thought, let's try this. Yeah. So she said, sure. I think she thought I was kidding. No. So we started, and we picked a race. We registered for it to force myself to make sure I stayed accountable to getting to that point. And off we went, training. Now, I didn't actually was able to run the full distance of that particular race, which was 3 miles, until a week before the race. So that was the beginning of my fitness experience, was that moment. What I found with it was that it made me feel amazing. I felt so much better. I felt like, the sharpness of mind. The body felt better. I was feeling I was able to do things that I couldn't do before, and wondered why I hadn't done it sooner. And so that began this journey, which now brought into that hiking as well. I got get crazy ideas, so I decided that I'm talking with some young folks that I was around about hiking the Catskills, so I decided to hike all the peaks over 3,500 feet. Got a hiking partner with me to do it, and we accomplished. It took 5 years, but we did it, and got them all in, and then continued my running, got longer races going. Then onto that, I added other races like adventure races, and now my son wants me to do a 200-mile race with him this June.
Wow.
So yeah,
I'm always amazed with fitness and just moving the different ways of doing it. It's not tied down to just running or whatever it is. There's so many variables, and you got to kind of find what works for you. Yeah,
absolutely. And when I run, when I started running, for me it was a struggle. When we kind of talk about spirituality with running, it was just I was praying to God would help me survive and not die.
Yes, a lot of prayer time. Yes.
Lots of prayer. It helped my prayer time amazingly. And then it went from truly this time just to focus with God, just to spend time, not just saying, please help me survive, but to just put all the other thoughts out of my head. And because you had to focus on running. Because for me, I found that my body would do whatever I wanted it to do, but my brain would get in the way of it. So when I started to run, it was a way to clear my brain out and just think with God, spend time talking, praying, just being. You're running along the road, you get to enjoy creation a whole lot more.
Sure do.
You're not zipping by at 60 miles an hour. You get a chance to just stare and look at the birds and the trees and the flowers and whatever that was there. It was just, I've enjoyed every step, every step.
Yeah. It's an amazing journey. Blake, what about you? What fitness to you, historically and where you are now?
I started running when I was 16 years old. I strapped on a pair of Nike Air Pegasuses and just headed out the door. I didn't know what I was doing. And what I discovered within just the first week of running is it brought me a lot of joy. I enjoyed it. I'm one of the few people that isn't praying not to die. I'm like, I love this, and bring more. And it has always been that for me. It has always been a time to just cut loose, have fun. It brightens my mood. I really enjoy it. I think in my 20s and 30s, I went through a season of, okay, how far can I go? How hard can I run? And maybe that's the season of life I was in, how macho can I be? I'm here in my 40s now. I have 2 children. Life is full of a lot of noise, and it's very, very busy. And I find that I'm returning back to sort of what it was in the very beginning of, it's not about how fast or how far, though those are still fun for me, but it's about just ending the noise and being quiet and still and enjoying my time with God as I'm outside. Within the last number of years, I've picked up trail running. Which I find you reduce the noise of the traffic and even the noise of people being around you. And there's this incredible solitude that you can have in all of God's creation and just, as you said, be. I find that, and I don't even have to be running all the time. Sometimes I can just walk or hike as I'm going, and I'm able to just be, and that's really where I am right now. It's my time to be. And not perform or be in the soccer carpool or things. It's just, okay, it's time to be.
Yeah. Now, we talked about this a little bit before we went on air and such things. Do you use headphones and such things in those types of runs and such things, or you don't use them just so that you can listen, or are you listening to something? What's your preference when you're out running or hiking or something like that?
It's both and.
Okay.
I sometimes I will have one headphone in.
Yes.
Because the technology, using the app
Yes.
on my phone, it also tracks how far I'm going.
Yes.
And it tells me. So I know whether I'm on track for what my goal is for running that day. How many miles, how fast I'm doing it. I'm not a fast runner, clearly. I don't have the physique for being a fast runner. I just like doing it.
Yes.
And so but I want to know roughly where I am. So I have one headphone in,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
and it's silent in between. It just all of a sudden will tell me
Yes.
when it's marking off. When I'm hiking, no, I have no. I'm following a map, and I don't need to know that. So I enjoy both sides. If I go to the gym to run, I will have the headphones in and listen to music that I like, which is typically out of the Christian field.
Yes.
I'm Christian music and country music are my two. So it's one of those two that I'm listening to.
Yes. Yeah. What about you, Blake?
I don't want to hear anything. I don't even go to the gym because I don't want to hear anything.
Yes.
I just want it to be quiet.
Yes.
And now, when you run on the road, just out of essential so you don't get run over, it's better not to have earphones in. But I would just rather, I'd rather tune out and not have myself being bombarded with anything. I find when I listen to music, when I exercise, I want to keep up with the pace of the music, and sometimes that's too slow, sometimes that's too fast, but it's not being me.
Yes.
And so if I can, I'm able to be more of who I am. I don't have to go too fast, I don't have to go too slow.
Yes.
It allows my mood to be what it needs to be, settle into its own place.
Right.
I'm not
Thank you.
any stimulus.
In our faith, we talk about disciplines, the discipline of prayer or worship or the sacraments or reading or whatever. And let's spend a minute or two with me, if you will, about discipline, the discipline of running, the discipline of fitness, the discipline. How does that all mesh into the totality, the wholeness? Because we're not segmented beings, we are whole beings. How have you understood the discipline of running, to do it so many times or to work out so many times a week in the midst of all the other disciplines that we have as being pastor and family and all of those? Can you speak to how that might touch your heart?
Sure. I think the discipline of any type of fitness, be it running or going to the gym or just walking, creates a capacity within us. So a capacity to carve out time, a capacity to be present with ourselves, a capacity to be present with God. And I think that capacity we then take into the rest of our lives. So discipline, and I like to refer to it as practice. I'm practicing at something. I'm not getting it perfect. I'm practicing, but I'm practicing to develop something in myself. And so beyond my body, it's it's self-control. I can carve out this time, I can do this, but then that incredible benefits as a pastor, as a father, or as a neighbor, that I'm not guided by my external circumstances. I'm able to say, no, I'm going to move forward, and that has time and it can wait. I can focus on this right now. I think that's one of the great benefits of any type of fitness, is this capacity of self-control.
Yeah, great point.
And I think that for me, the discipline, and I like the word practice too, the idea of the discipline is putting value to things. I have value in prayer. I have value in spending time in devotion with God. And when I put the value into that God created this, I'm His creation. And when I put value into taking care of that creation, that making the time for whatever you want to do, whether it's the gym or a treadmill at home or walking or hiking or running or paddling or biking, whatever that might be, that I'm valuing this body that God had given me. And I'm finding ways to try to take care of it and to help it to be healthy and strong, so I'm able to do more. So for me, it's putting equal value to this, taking care of myself as well as physically as I do spiritually. It's that balance.
Let me go a little deeper with that, if I could. Because one of the practices, I think, even is just being beings, human beings and such things, is food, and how we fuel these bodies and our minds and our psyche and all of that. And I've really done a lot of study as to how food impacts everything, from the way we think, the way we move, and such things. How has the practice of fitness has it touched the way that you relate to food? I had a very wise personal trainer once say to me that you can never out-train your eating habits. And I always thought that was very, very profound.
You can come close.
You can come close, but you're never going to out-train it if you're munching on Twinkies 24/7. And that always impacted me about what we take into our mouth. Sure. And talk about spirituality from the ground the food comes and God provides everything, and how we consciously or unconsciously take in that nutrition and food. How has that impacted the practice of fitness and spirituality? Sure. With food, because I'm sure all of us have struggled with that at one time or another, and see so many people that struggle with food.
I think it can exacerbate the struggle with food because we can exercise to give ourselves permission
Absolutely.
To eat or to eat poorly or to eat whatever we wish. And I think particularly when you're younger, you can do this, because it doesn't catch up with you as easily. I think, though, positively, it's more in the track that Robert's talking about, is you valuing your person. As you begin to value your person with exercise, you begin to realize that you are a person of